XRP adoption and accumulation continue. Do not let today's price action distract you from the fundamental value and the trajectory towards price discovery for XRP and other utility-based cryptocurrencies that are based out of America. We're also going to be talking about gold smashing up to new all-time highs while silver breaks above 35 bucks. We have positioned ourselves perfectly for this second Trump administration. And if you weren't expecting these pullbacks in the markets, then it's time to get tapped in with us. You need some market analysis that's actually going to direct you in the right path. And that's what we do here every single day. If you appreciate our content, make sure you guys have subscribed, hit that notification bell. And if you like what we're doing, tap it. If you don't like what we're doing, you can smack it. Okay? Appreciate you. Let's roll. Markets, where are we at? Reacting to the auto tariffs, and they are here. President Trump's Liberation Day will now include 25% tariffs on cars not made in the United States. This is set to add up to $12,500 to the price of the average new car sold, but not made in the United States. Basically, even if the car is, finally assembled in America, a lot of these parts are still going to have the tariffs on them. You got companies like Ford that have a lot of their manufacturing in Canada and Mexico. I went and looked through. I actually asked Grok which of these manufacturers were going to be the most impacted, and it looked like it was Stellantis, GM, and Ford. So basically our big, three American companies are going to be hit the heaviest, and this is set to impact the auto industry in a major way. And so the markets are coming back down off this news. We also at the same time have Japan's 10-year government bond yield surging to around 1.5%, reaching its highest level in 16 and a half years. So say it with me, we are having a global margin call. So it is no surprise that we have a little bit of volatility, market coming back down. We warned about this coming up into Liberation Day, April 2nd. You expand and you look out across the Pacific at Japan, serious issues happening over there with their bond market blowing up. You look across at other countries who are basically in full panic over the tariffs that could be implemented over here. And the market, in my opinion, is overreacting as a whole to the tariffs. And so this is a short-term issue that will be kind of, we'll get clarity after April 2nd. And I think that we will start to move back up to the upside. But there is some fundamental issues with that Japan carry trade and that global margin call that are not going away. And so this is why I believe that short-term downside into April 2nd, then we will pick up and run through April into May. But the old saying, sell in May and go away, I think is going to come back around as we still have this global margin call, a debt, currency, and liquidity crisis, and it has to be solved. Now, one way that we've hedged ourselves against this is by the precious metals. Crypto down today while gold smashes a new all-time high and silver futures break above $35 per ounce. We got positioned so perfectly for the second Trump administration. On the risk side of our portfolio, we have US-based utility cryptocurrencies, XRP, HBAR, DAG, and others. On the other side of our portfolio, for the defensive measures, we got our precious metals, and some call it God's money. Lock in, folks, because gold just smashed up to $3,050. And we're actually looking at gold over $3,060 on the futures. Right now, we have silver breaking above $35 on the futures as well. Massive, massive run here for both of these metals. Bank of America sees gold rising to $3,500 on central bank in China buying. Despite this asset going into price discovery new all-time high, people are still accumulating it. Similar to what we're going to see with XRP. I'm going to talk more about that later. And what is the most bullish altcoin right now, according to Tony the Bull Severino? That would be silver, the most bullish altcoin right now. And that is just a biblical cup and handle that we're about to break out of. And it is going to be glorious on this run up to $50 in price discovery for silver. An asset that I myself got into late, just a few years ago, but I was able to stack all my silver under $30 per ounce. So we're going to double that one up as we go to $50 and $60. And I think that you guys hear from other experts talking about silver breaking above $100 per ounce in the not too distant future, over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think that something like that is definitely in the offing here. And I do expect that to happen. And so I'll just continue to hold my silver. Once again, that's on the defensive side of my portfolio. And then when it's time to take risk, don't give me 4%. Don't give me 8% on the S&P 500, which isn't even giving you 8% these days. I'm not interested in 10 to 20% gains in the stock market. If I'm going to go risk on, then we're going to go cryptos, which, funny enough, despite the risk that they do bring, the upside just far outweighs. It's an asymmetrical bet with, limited downside. As long as we're hedged with our defensive measures, precious metals, and cash, we can dive head into the cryptocurrency risk on asset and feel very comfortable about how we're positioned. And boy, is it playing out perfectly. Now, Nate Garassi, he's an ETF expert, says Ripple lawsuit coming to an end. Seems obvious spot XRP ETF approval is just simply a matter of time at this moment. And yes, I expect BlackRock, Fidelity, etc. to all be involved. So just like I've predicted and many others, BlackRock is not going to let this one pass them by. Funny enough, BlackRock actually has over 4 ETFs for gold. But I'm telling you, the suits are going to sell it in 589 different ways. They can't wait. Speaking of suits selling it, Interactive Brokers is expanding its altcoin offering to include Solana, Cardano, XRP, and Doge. Who is Interactive Brokers? Well, let me show you real quick. Interactive Brokers is an American multinational brokerage firm headquartered in Greenwich, Connecticut. It operates the largest electronic trading platform in the United States by number of daily average revenue trades. In 2023, the platform processed an average of 3 million trades per day. Once again, this platform, the largest electronic trading platform in the United States by number of daily average revenue trades. That means they're making big bets over there at Interactive Brokers out of Greenwich, Connecticut. Big money over there. And big exposure to XRP on the way. Now, we have a new deal here with Robinhood getting into the banking business. Yesterday, their CEO and founder, Vlad, he gave a presentation on Robinhood Banking, their new program. But Chad Steingraber reminding us that Robinhood already partnered up with Bitstamp, and Bitstamp and Ripple are already partnered up to launch a derivatives exchange. This is what's cooking right now. And so I've been watching this deal very, very closely. The deal is set to still be approved, I think, the Robinhood acquisition of Bitstamp, but Robinhood getting into banking, Robinhood acquiring Bitstamp, which gets them into crypto, and then Bitstamp and Ripple have already been working on derivatives. And this is where many people have focused on XRP solving the cross-border payments problem, and they're doing a great job at that. We're going to show you in the next slide how their business is expanding further into Africa. But folks overlook the other opportunities and the massive opportunity well into the quadrillions that is the derivatives market, and Ripple's already been working with Bitstamp on that. Now Bitstamp set to be acquired by Robinhood, and it's a good thing that Robinhood relisted XRP. I know a lot of people have been picking up XRP on that platform. Not my preferred platform. I got my community resources listed down below, and there's a reason why I don't have Robinhood listed, okay? If you want to go play in the stocks, maybe that's a good platform, but I still don't trust them for crypto, right? This is great news what they're doing, but personally, I'd rather just buy my crypto on some other platforms and then send that crypto to my cold storage wallet where I'm the custodian, okay? Now, continuing on here, we got an expansion through Africa continuing here with Ripple and Chipper Cash joining forces to unlock faster and more effective crypto-enabled payments across Africa. Now, this is a region where Ripple is already very present, and this started back in 2023 with On Afric. Okay, and I remember at the time talking about this partnership. The On Afric partnership, I believe, brought Ripple and XRP into dozens of countries within Africa, basically almost the entire continent. I think it was over 40 or 50 countries within Africa, which On Afric had tapped us into. Now with Chipper Cash, we'll be expanding that footprint even further. Ripple Payments has near global coverage with 90 plus payout markets representing more than 90% coverage of the daily FX markets, processing more than 70 billion in volume. Ripple has over a decade of experience in the digital asset space and holds 60 plus regulatory licenses and registrations in various jurisdictions. Can you say flip that switch? And I love to see it because this is what we got into crypto for. Yeah, we want to make some money too. We want to make the world a better place. We want to bank the unbanked. We want to service those who have been underserviced and haven't been given access to bank accounts and the ability to move money freely like we take for granted over here in the West. And so we love to see Ripple working in Africa, Middle East, APAC regions. They've been dominating. And next, you're about to see that US market unlock, just like Brad Grindhouse said. Do not be underestimating that US market unlock right now. And don't underestimate what XRP is about to do price-wise. Dom Trader View 2. Nearly everyone who was positioned in XRP prior to the 500% rally is expecting it to go higher this year, while nearly everyone who missed out on the 500% rally is expecting sub $2 and is short. Who's going to be right? Well, and a lot of those people too that missed out on the 500% rally, they want us to go back below $2 so that they can acquire more. You got some of these guys that are shorting, but a lot of folks that want XRP back below $2 just want to acquire some more. And I feel for you. I do. The only regret that I'll have looking back at this moment in time is that I wasn't able to get more people into this asset. But I will be able to sit back and look and say, well, at least I gave it my best. We tried to pump it out. We tried to max engage every single day, waking up as many people as possible to this opportunity before we just hit that 5-bagger. And some of you guys, your portfolio, I mean, if you are acquiring under 20 cents, you're up 10x on that portion of your portfolio. So on average, we're up 500% to 1,000%. Not bad. And we still got upside to go. And so I think that there's a good comment right here from Dave W. underneath this post, right? Who's going to be right? Dave says probably neither. Max pain is a range such as we've seen. Perhaps if Bitcoin breaks out, the top of the range will expand, but explosive growth without meaningful adoption beyond press releases is unlikely. 2026, however, could be interesting. And see, this is where I talk about the end of this year into next year is where we really blast off to 20 and 30 bucks. Now, Dom says 6+ months of ranging between $2 and $3 would be poetic, and it would really wear on a lot of people, a lot of folks, because you have people that are mad that XRP is not coming back down below $2 so that they can acquire more, and then you're going to have everybody else mad that XRP is not blasting off and going further. But I think that it is somewhere in the middle where we find this out, right? It's not going to be, we flip it to $50 or $100 this year. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out and say it's impossible. I would never do that. I don't rule out any high prices for XRP, and I don't rule out timelines that take us to those high prices very soon. I don't rule out any of it. But we have to sit back and we have to look at the structure. We combine it with the fundamentals. We match it up with the psychological sentiment. That's a big part of the market, the emotions. And this is why a lot of people are going to hit the exits between here and $10. And it's why I'm predicting this run up into, $5 to $7, all the way up to maybe even $10 at most. But I don't think that we're going to break that level because there's a lot of people, and especially if we chop for a little bit longer here, they're going to be shaken out. I don't think that we chop, though, for much longer. Like I said, downward action into April 2nd. And then we bounce and we go into this alt season that's going to be short-lived, 2 to 6 weeks. And I'm going to be taking profit at some of these levels that we're going up to. Full disclosure. I'm not going to be selling all of my XRP if it goes up to $8, but I will be taking a little bit of profit. Full disclosure, right? But I've always said, we got to get this shakeout, this run up to $10. You get out all these people that want to sell. And I'm included in that because I know everybody else that wants to sell. So I think it would be silly for me not to take advantage of this swing trade opportunity to take some profits up at $8 to $10 and then acquire back my bag and maybe a little bit more when it comes back down to $3 or $4. And what's going to kill people is that chop and sideways action that I think really comes through the summer. Okay? Sell in May and walk away. Now, here's Bunny Boy, good friend of mine that I found here on X, who shares some technical analysis, and he's showing the XRP market cap chart, not the XRP price chart, the XRP market cap chart. And what he says right here, he moved the fractal over and shortened it to see if we can align the current market cap price action. And this is the 2017 fractal. Okay? And what he shows us is that we just did a lower low on the XRP market cap chart, not on the XRP price chart. The low's already in at $1.70 back at the beginning of February. As I've been saying, the bottom is in on XRP, but we just did a new lower low on the market cap chart. We're now over 58 billion circulating XRP, which is part of the reason why you got a lower low there. But now we're already back up. The bottom is in. We're moving back up, and you see where this goes. Now look at the time frame too. This marker he has is right on 420, April 20th, right? Where we would, take this run up here. And then for the full extension, we're up 256%. Where does this take us, right? He has this first wave up. If we follow this fractal up until April 20th, well, that's just 4 days after the Ripple has the response to the appeal, right? Which we know they're going to drop it. But basically, by this time frame, the case should officially be over and done with. And definitely by May 30th, which is his next line right here, which is when, if we follow this fractal, right around when we'd be topping out. So the end of April into May, this is what we're looking at. And what are we looking at here on the high side? Take a look at it right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. You see where we're at. You see if we do 250%, we're right up there in the $8 range, okay? Now, I'm going to be updating my XRP exit strategy personally, just based off of the new data that we have. I'm going to be changing a couple of my targets here and the amount of XRP that I'm going to be selling at some of these levels. So that's an adjustment that I'm going to be making there. If you want access to that, join us in the Discord group. That's the only place I will be sharing my XRP exit strategy, not something that I talk about publicly. But I do want everybody to be ready because I do firmly believe that the all-time high is coming in. And a lot of folks are looking to sell off at these levels, which is why I don't expect us to break through $10. And I want to get this out of the way. I want to get this over and done with. And what's going to happen here, and you're going to see, we're going to run up to these levels. A lot of people going to hit the exits. We come back down and establish a new floor price. What's going to push XRP up to $10 and beyond later this year into next year is the institutional adoption, and you're already starting to see it. You are seeing glimpses of it. Brad Garlinghouse is trying to tell you not to underestimate XRP. He's begging you not to underestimate the US market unlock. Why would he be saying that? Maybe it's because he's been working with some US institutions and banks. They're under NDA, part of the 1,700 contracts that were disclosed in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Maybe Brad has a hunch. Maybe he has a clue. Maybe he has over a couple thousand contracts sitting on his desk. And obviously, they're probably not physically on his desk, but you get my point, that he can look at and report back to us, hey guys, probably shouldn't underestimate the US market unlock. And you probably, and I'll add this, you should not be distracted by today's price action. Today's price action is an opportunity to acquire and accumulate more of these utility cryptos that are based out of America. I couldn't be more bullish. The headwinds have shifted into tailwinds. All you have to do is lock in. So stay tuned with us. If you appreciate what we're doing, make sure you like this video. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. And I greatly appreciate your support. ZachRector.com for all of our community resources. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.